Hello, my name is Inora Arista. Today, I'm going to be talking about Noah Webster, best known as the father of American copyright law, father of American scholarship and education, and the forgotten founding father. Noah Webster was born in Hartford, Connecticut on the 16th of October 1758. He was born in a family of 7, which included his father, mother, 2 brothers, and 2 sisters. He started school at the age of 7 and since then lived his whole life engaged in education and colonial affairs. He was a Yale student and a graduate. He wanted to continue his education and study law, but his father could not afford it. Since then, his route to education expanded, and as a teacher he decided to innovate the content of what the students learned, later to innovate and define the American language as well. Besides all of this, Webster was also a political writer and an abolitionist. Webster was influenced by 3 persons in his life. The first person was his father, Noah Webster Sr., who was a farmer and a weaver. He taught him the Christian values that he embraced throughout his life. Reverend Nathan Perkins, minister of the West Division's Congregational Church, was the second person who influenced Webster. He frequently used his knowledge to train boys who might aspire to attend college. Thus, Webster requested his help to prepare him for Yale. Soon, Webster learned Latin, took reading as a profession, and surpassed his family's background education. Even though Webster was unable to attend law school, he did read law. Which brings us to the third influential person in his life, Oliver Ellsworth, one of the state's most distinguished jurists. Webster studied and learned from him, his books, and records. Webster believed that Americans should learn from American books since they were not part of Great Britain anymore. Therefore, he felt the need to create their own textbooks in order to stop relying on English textbooks. He went a step further and also created America's own dictionary in purpose of achieving a unified language. Consequently, he enforced copyright laws to protect authors like himself. Webster was a very knowledgeable religious man and educator. His definition of education was, and I quote, "Education comprehends all that series of instruction and discipline which is intended to enlighten the understanding, correct the temper, inform the manners and habits of youth, and fit them for usefulness in the future stations." To give children a good education in manners, arts, and science is important. To give them a religious education is indispensable. After America's independence from Great Britain on July 4, 1776, America still preserved their books, pledging allegiance to King George. Children of all ages were crammed into one-room schoolhouses. With no desks, poor books, and untrained teachers, Webster realized the American education system needed to be upgraded and that Americans should learn from American books. Hence, he set out to create a language and culture for Americans. Webster's first contribution to that reform effort was the creation of his own textbook in 1783. This textbook was to be called A Grammatical Institute of the English Language, best known as the Blue-Backed Speller. This book, besides teaching children how to spell, also taught them how to read and pronounce words. Thus, the book was used for over 100 years and nearly 100 million copies were sold. Later on, in 1806, because Americans spoke and used words differently than the English, and to help people who lived in different parts of the country to speak and spell the same way, Webster created a compendious dictionary of the English language, which defined 37,000 words. He did not stop there, for in 1826, Webster created the American Dictionary of the English Language defining over 65,000 words. This was to be his lifetime project in America's first dictionary. Although Webster's work was honored, his big dictionaries had never sold well. The 1828 edition was priced at $20. In 13 years, its 2,500 copies had not sold out. Similarly, the 1841 edition, only slightly more affordable at $15, still gave little profit. It was not until 1847, 4 years after Webster's death of natural causes, that abundant profit was to be gained from Webster's dictionaries. This occurred because George and Charles Merriam gained the rights to Webster's work and published their first edition of the dictionary in Springfield, Massachusetts, with the help of Chauncey A. Goodrich, Webster's son-in-law and literary hire. With the modern printing techniques, name change to Merriam-Webster, and the risky move of selling the dictionaries at $6, it was a total success, which brought them $25,000 in royalties over 25 years. Not only that, but it also brought recognition and popularity. So much that even President James K. Polk, General Zachary Taylor, 31 U.S. senators, and other prominent people hailed it unreservedly. 3 years later, in 1850, its acceptance as a resource for students began when Massachusetts ordered a copy for every school, and New York placed a similar order for 10,000 copies to be used in schools throughout the state. Eventually, school use would spread throughout the country, and becoming America's most trusted authority on the English language. Merriam-Webster's dictionaries had taken on a role of public responsibility demanded of few other publishing companies, ensuring Noah Webster's legacy as the father of the American English language and the creator of the national identity. Today, the office of Merriam-Webster has existed in essentially the same spot in Springfield, Massachusetts since 1831. While the building has changed both inside and out in the many decades following George and Charles Merriam's establishment of the printing and bookselling operation, the location and much of all the editor's work has not. Nonetheless, Merriam-Webster is still requested, but now from Merriam-Webster.com, which attracts more than 12 million unique visitors monthly according to QuantQuest figures. To top it off, Webster was a founder, a politician, and an abolitionist. In 1812, after a new spiritual transformation, he moved from New Haven to Amherst, Massachusetts, and helped to found Amherst College. His political affiliation was that of a conservative, genuinely concerned with the poor, and an aggressive supporter of abolitionist causes and women's education. Webster's impact in today's education was his lifetime commitment, because he believed that the survival of the United States depended on its educated people. That is why he helped organize schools, dictate the language in which we learn and speak, and was part of the voices who shape our government. Christopher Dobbs, publisher of ConnecticutHistory.org, said, and I quote, "Webster's dictionaries, spellers, and copious writings were part of America's cultural revolution. His political theories influenced the framers of the Constitution and helped shape our existing laws. His social beliefs, such as abolition of slavery and the safety net for the working class, will take another century to fully materialize." This shows that Webster was a well-rounded man, but without him, America would have no style nor identity. So if any of you forget where the words in your textbooks, and even the words I'm saying right now, come from, remember and thank Noah Webster.